Tonight on TBN, for the first time in Masters history, Model United Nations hosted neighboring schools on campus for a competitive Model UN conference known as MassMonk. After a community COVID outbreak shut down the elective's efforts to arrange this conference last spring, MUN leadership and members were ecstatic to hold this conference. Masters Main Stage puts on their fall production of Journey to the West, bringing a story that has been popularized all over East Asia for centuries to the stage of the Claudia Bottcher Theater. TBN's executive producers traveled to CRP Sanitation in Cortlandt Manor to get a behind-the-scenes look at the new waste management company Masters has partnered with, and learn how the school is working to effectively compost dining hall waste this year. And the Masters Rec Basketball Association dribbles closer to their championship. We catch up with students in the club and leadership about what the NBA League has meant to them this season. All this and more, next.
Good evening and welcome to our first broadcast of the year. I'm Carol K. Ross.
And I'm Hannah Schijano, your executive producers for this school year. We're recapping and following the latest news. The Department of Performing Arts recently introduced a new production to the community, a multilingual talent show known as Polyglot. Upper school students and faculty were invited to perform in any language except English. Take a look.
The Department of Performing Arts recently introduced a new production to the Masters community known as Polyglot, the talent show with only one rule.
No al inglés.
Kein Englisch.
Sin inglés.
No inglés.
Pas d'anglais. Pas d'anglais.
That's right, no English. On the evening of September 30th, the upper school community gathered in the experimental theater to watch a talent show where all the acts were performed in foreign languages. The show included songs, dances, speeches, poems, and even a performance done entirely in Morse code. Upper school theater teacher Meg O'Connor brought the show to Masters after accumulating student and faculty interest.
Most of the students that I know that I work with in the theater have another language or are learning another language or are interested in cultures besides their own. And I just thought that that would make this a great place to share what we know and our other experiences.
From father-daughter duets to foreign language classes performing the Greek alphabet, the production showcased over 20 acts in 10 languages, featuring Spanish, Mandarin, French, Thai, Portuguese, Hebrew, Greek, Ukrainian, and Hindi. It took students and DOPA faculty roughly 1 month to turn the idea of a multilingual talent show into reality. After a 2-hour show, students reflected on Masters' first Polyglot.
My favorite thing about this whole experience was just being a part of it, like being a part of the hosting experience, being a part of like tech, and just seeing all the performances come together, and it was just amazing. Having it student led, it was just such a fun experience and enjoyable experience, I think, for everyone.
The night was really, really fun. It was amazing to see all the different languages and all the diversity. There were some that were taught in school and like some songs and so many different forms of creativity. There was one that was Morse code, so everyone was silent and we were able to communicate through body language, and it made me realize that you don't need to speak the same language in order to get along with other people.
You know, this is the first time event, so we had no idea how many people who were gonna come. You know, we were just blown away. We had 23 acts, which was we didn't know if we were gonna have 50 or 6, so 23 was absolutely perfect. Everyone loved it. People were singing along and clapping. We had like phone flashlights going back and forth during some of the songs. It was just utterly incredible.
With its first success, Polyglot is on track to become an annual tradition for years to come.
I really hope that we can do this every single year. I think the more we do it, we'll discover that there are different acts, different languages, different surprises. But I think it's something that the students will really look forward to, and I know that I will definitely look forward to it.
Carol K. Ross and Hannah Schijano, TBN, the Masters School.
It was amazing to see the community come together and share each other's languages. Making Masters history, the Model United Nations elective hosted their first ever on-campus MUN conference on November 5th. The event included various committees and awards.
It's bright and early on Saturday, November 5th, and the Masters Model United Nations elective is preparing to host MassMonk, the first on-campus Model United Nations conference in the history of the school. 7 schools and 75 middle and upper school students from all around the tri-state area are suited up in Masters Hall, dress shoes, blazers, and lots of research in hand. Originally set to take place on April 23rd, the conference had to be rescheduled and reorganized after a COVID-19 outbreak last spring amongst the class of 2022. At the time, Masters administration determined that it was unsafe to hold the conference. Ever since then, Secretary Generals Lorelei McCarthy and Ella Dundas and Director General Violet Paul have been integral in making sure MassMonk became more than just an idea.
Last year, 2021, that's when we decided it should be called MassMonk. We started talking about what kind of committees we were going to run, who was going to be running them. And so we did a lot of planning throughout that year. You have to pick your chairs, they have to do their research and write background guides. I designed our entire website on Wix. We had to deal with logistics, do outreach to schools, and so we were planning to host it last April. And then the senior class got COVID.
MassMonk hosted committees ranging from general assemblies on the International Atomic Energy Agency to crisis committees on the Trojan War. Committees were mostly written by current seniors or recent MUN alumni. One of the most unique committees was the 2017 Grammys, where delegates were tasked to decide on a winner for the Album of the Year and discuss discrimination and bigotry within the Academy. Senior and Crisis Director Amelia Vagnon created this committee in the early months of 2022, hoping to argue it at the original date for MassMonk. Today, she is doing backroom for her original committee and watching her idea flourish.
It's really crazy to see this on its feet. I'm really excited to see how they're working through everything and how the things are going in the way that I expected, and also the things aren't going in the way that I expected. I have really high hopes, and I hope it works well. It's really fun for me to see. I feel like my child is grown up.
For many delegates, this was one of their first Model UN conferences, as MassMonk was designed to be a learning experience for all who joined. Students from different schools reflect on their favorite part of the conference.
So I have around 2 or 3 years of experience in going to various conferences. So far, I think this is my favorite. First of all, I like the amount of freedom that being in a crisis committee allows me. I don't have to worry about passing a resolution all the time. It's very comforting in a way.
My favorite part was definitely learning how to chair and seeing the Model UN kind of situation from the other side of the table. I got to look at delegates from a different perspective. I wasn't competing with them. I was really looking at their growth and improvement, and that was just something I loved about chairing. And overall, the committee was amazing. Everyone was nice, and MassMonk is a program that I hope to expand upon in the future.
To wrap up the event, delegates gathered one last time in Doc Wilson Hall to recognize some outstanding participants. Awards like Best, Outstanding, or Honorable Delegate are chosen by the chairs in each individual committee. Based on speech, productivity, and knowledge around 3 delegates were chosen from each committee. As the day came to a close, MUN leadership reflected on how it felt to finally put on this conference.
It feels a little surreal that everyone's here, and all of these committees that everyone has worked so hard on, all of these background guides that we have proofed. People are now discussing these issues that we've just run in sins, and it's very surreal to me. I've been up for so many hours and I'm just running on coffee, so I think it will hit me tonight that hey, we did it. How cool is this? And I think especially for me and Ella, we'll be gone next year, but MassMonk will stay. And for last year's seniors, some of their committees live on today. Everyone in our team is going to leave a mark on MassMonk.
Carol K. Ross and Anna Moscato, TBN, The Masters School.
Congratulations to the Model UN team on hosting this historic conference. It is tradition for the senior class to decide the Halloween theme. For this year's theme, we're taking a road trip. Buckle up.
We hope you all had a happy Halloween. Masters alumnus Brooklyn Demi and activist Sydney Fountain presented 2 film projects during the morning meeting of October 13th. Tower's editor-in-chief Ellie Yang and Maya Brancevich sat down with Demi and Fountain to learn more about the inspirations behind the project and how it came to be.
My name is Cynthia Hoffman Fountain, and I'm from the Ramapo Lenape tribe on my mother's side. My father's side is Penobscot from Maine. But this gentleman I met a long time ago, and with his dad and mom, and never thinking that we would be sitting here together doing some project like this about maybe 35 years ago or something. And so this is a blessing, and all of you have been a blessing.
My name is Brooklyn. I'm an alum from this school, from the class of 2008. And here with Miss Cindy today to share some film work that we've done with the Ramapo Lenape community, and also have some nice conversations about building unity and working together for a better world.
And I know that you mentioned that you guys met through his parents, but I was wondering how you guys ended up collabing on this project.
My dad and I went to Standing Rock on Lakota Nation with the water protectors there in 2016, and he made a film for PBS with Tavis Smiley that I got to produce, and that with him, and that led to the Ramapo Lenape Sweetwater Split Rock Camp in Mahwah, New Jersey.
These gentlemen, and I'm saying his dad and he, his path brought us together. He knew this had to be shared. He knew several things I'll share later, that you had to come because you were going to carry the torch.
And has your experience here at Masters shaped your career as like a filmmaker?
I think the first person who comes to mind is a teacher I had here named Miss Wood, who taught a course called Ethnic Studies, which in some parts of the country is still even banned, like in Arizona, for instance. Maybe it's back now, but just the presence of that in the classroom is still contested. And in that course, I read Lakota Woman by Mary Crodog, and that was a very impactful read for me.
Are you hoping that maybe the film would inspire other people in terms of their own filmmaking or to get more involved with your project?
I think that it's important to have more filmmakers because there never can be enough. Because everyone's story is going to touch someone different. And the person that you think can't be touched, you'd be the one that would connect it. My culture, I do not feel has changed any. We've maintained, I know I maintain who I am and what I am because that's my obligation as being an Indigenous woman, whether I'm in the modern world or I was in the old world. This is who I have to be.
Part of our job is storytelling as well. So as a more general question, what does that mean to you?
Two Clouds in the film this morning was sharing part of his cultural inheritance.
Before you get to the maple syrup, you have to tap in, you get the water out of it. My ancestors didn't just say, we can probably drink what may be inside of this tree. Instead, we watched. So we watched a bird that we call Memacoquest. It's the biggest woodpecker in the Northeast here.
It's a story that he has received from the elder people who have cherished this thing that gives good life, and he received that and then shared it with me.
We're a global community. Years ago, it was just a central one spot. You lived there and that was the whole line of it. But now, this is global. We have to work together. All of this is one earth.
Thank you to Cindy Fountain and Brooklyn Demi. Next up, Carol recaps this year's fall play, Journey to the West, which is regarded as one of the most popular literary works in East Asia.
When darkness wrapped the universe, chaos reigned. Then, matter woke up to the light.
Lights, camera, action. After months of rehearsal, set designing, and technical coordination, Masters Mainstage put on their fall production of Journey to the West. Based on the Chinese fantasy novel by the same name, published in the 16th century Ming Dynasty, the play adaptation of Journey to the West follows the story of a Buddhist monk, Sanzang, as he embarks on a pilgrimage to India in search of holy scriptures. He is accompanied on the journey by his 4 disciples, the Monkey King Sun Wukong, the pig Zhubaji, the white dragon horse, and the river ogre Sha Wujin, all searching for redemption to get back into heaven. Journey to the West, which is a play based on historical events that happened years prior in the Tang Dynasty, is not only regarded as a Chinese literary classic, but also as one of the most popular literary works in Eastern Asia. Junior Jessie Shi, who plays Sanzang the monk, recalls the show's popularity back home.
It's like one of the 4 most famous traditional stories in China that everyone knows. Because this story is I know it since I was super young. We talked about it when I was in primary school. My mom and my grandparents they watch it on TV for 10 times already. So this story, I know it for my life. I was so excited when I know we're doing this, because it's just it's such a famous story in China and in Asia. It's a culture that we want to share with other people.
The production closed on October 29th after performing 3 nights and an additional student and faculty invited dress rehearsal. Junior Camilo Batarracedo, who played the Monkey King Sun Wukong, shared his thoughts on the show and the growth of the theater company.
This play was just something just different from every other play we've done, and I thought it was just so much fun to work with everybody. I thought it was excellent. I thought it, in contrast to some of our other shows that we've done, I think each night just kept getting better and better and better. So I think we ended on a big high note.
Carol Queiroz, TBN, The Master's School.
Well done to all those involved in the production of this year's fall play, Journey to the West. Carol and I had the opportunity to visit waste management company CRP Sanitation in Cortland Manor to get a behind-the-scenes look at what happens to our compost after it leaves Masters. Take a look.
It's like rocket fuel for plants.
After pausing composting in 2020, Masters engaged CRP Sanitation, an outside contractor located in Cortland Manor, New York, to assist with its composting efforts. Both Masters senior Demi Oni and science teacher Courtney White expressed their support for this valuable opportunity.
Masters partnering with someone outside of school really show that they're dedicated to helping the environment.
So I'm really pleased that the school has looked at our initiatives and our interest in sustainability and now putting that interest into action.
CRP Sanitation General Manager Anthony Carbone gave TBN a behind-the-scenes look at the composting process.
We take our food scraps and tree debris that have already been mixed and we lay them down on top of these perforated pipes. For 5 minutes every 30 minutes, we force air into the pile to keep the pile aerobic. By keeping it aerobic and keeping the oxygen into the pile, all the bacteria and the funguses can multiply. And by them multiplying, they will break down the wood and the food and the compostable products. We take the temperatures every day. Typically, we're reaching temperatures of 160, 170 degrees.
What percent of this comes from a school like Masters?
Maybe a quarter of this pile could be food scraps that were taken from the Masters School campus.
Carbone requested that the Masters community be careful not to include small plastic items such as straws in their compost materials, since they pass through the screen and have to be removed by hand.
To screen all the materials that have been thrown in the compost but aren't compostable, how long of a process does that take?
It took us 7 or 8 days to screen 1,600 cubic yards of compost, of unscreened compost, and that gave us 800 cubic yards of finished compost.
From over there was a really strong smell of breaking down food, and I could really smell that. But from here, I have to get really close to even smell anything. It's incredible that you take so much time to make sure that the product that you're giving to your customers is really refined.
If you're a landscaper or somebody that's using this compost, you could be sure that if something doesn't grow, it's not the compost's fault. We're just helping it along and putting the things in right places and just letting nature do its thing. We really we watch what we're doing, but we're really not doing much. It's the millions of microorganisms that are doing the job here.
Mm-hmm. Carbone explained,
food waste is the heaviest part of the waste stream, and if you can do something locally that can manage that waste and turn it into a beneficial product like compost and put that back into the soil, it's a great win for the environment.
and White reminded the Masters community.
We really have to, as a society, as a community here, and as a power for good, we need to change our own individual behaviors and collective behavior to really make a difference.
Hannah Skujana and Carol Kairaz, TBN, Cortland Manor, New York.
Thank you to CRP Sanitations for allowing us to get a behind-the-scenes tour of your facilities. Finally tonight, if you're hearing basketballs dribbling in Strayer Gym, it's not because the winter basketball season came early. The Masters Basketball Association playoffs are in action. Hassan Saad and Azaria Charles have the story.
The Masters Rec Basketball Association was founded by senior Charlie Cooper last fall. He shared what inspired him to start the league.
I played Harrison Rec Basketball in my town for many years. And it kind of inspired me to create a league that at a private school where everyone's coming from different places, to kind of create a sense of unity and school spirit that you can't get because everyone lives far away.
This year, the club has over 50 players, but at first, Cooper was unsure about the club's success.
I wasn't sure if it would catch on right away. Luckily, it was welcomed.
Co-president Josh Barchet said that there were challenges with the logistics.
Finding the times especially were really difficult. Last year we had it during lunch, but this year with the 2 periods, we had to kind of switch it into club time.
Alex Napo is a member of Team Sailors and also serves as the NBA statistician, recording points, assists, and rebounds for each player. Using that data, Napo then formulates a list of the top players in the league.
I knew that I could do something more than just keep track of points. So that drove me to build this model. It's like grown so much from when I first tested it at the finals game last year, and it's just been really exciting.
Senior Steve Scarenta is a founding member and league executive of the NBA. He talked about the future of the club.
Having to leave this year is tough. You got to pass it down to someone. Still looking to see who could really take on this challenge. It's a very difficult task.
Member of Team Adam K, Thomas O'Grady, expressed his appreciation for the club.
It's bigger than basketball. It's just it's not just the physical part of the game, but it's the emotional part of the game. People are getting riled up, and it's just great to see these kids putting their heart out, wearing their heart on their sleeve.
I think the most rewarding thing is probably just kind of seeing the excitement from other people that are in the club and that are playing in the league. Just to see that they're excited about something that we helped create and what we think is kind of a pillar in the Masters community now is something that we're really excited about and something that we hope to continue doing far from when we're out of this school.
The NBA playoffs kicked off on October 25th. We caught up with the top player in the league, senior David Ferrando, after his team's quarterfinal win. And I hear that you guys are playing the Commanders next. How do you feel about the upcoming competition?
Nah, that's just a lie. We beat them earlier in the season. Gonna be an easy dub.
The semifinals will be held tomorrow and Monday. The championship game is scheduled to take place on Wednesday. I'm Azaria Charles.
I'm Hassan Saad. This is TBN, the Master School.
And that's all we have time for here tonight on Tower Broadcast News. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to Tower Broadcast News on YouTube and follow @Masters Tower on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Hannah Skujano.
And I'm Carol Kairaz. And from all of us here on the TBN staff, have a great night.